Hey friends, it's Mary Jo from MaryjoesCreations. Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I hope you like it and you stay. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back and watching my videos. I know they've been a little chaotic and I'm trying to find my footing, so I hope you bear with me and stay for the ride. See where this leads us. Now, I just finished wrapping up my Valentine's Day challenge. I hope you saw that video. I just posted a video yesterday that actually it was supposed to go up yesterday, and somehow I don't know how I did it, but I ended up posting it, like scheduling it. So it came out at midnight today. Today is Wednesday, the 19th, I think. Let's see. Valentine's Day was the 14th on Saturday. So Sunday was the 15th, Monday was the 16th, Tuesday was the 17th, so today's the 18th. So today is the 18th. And I do have another segment that I want to do. I want to do how many things I can do for St. Patty's Day. And it's going to be the same as the Valentine's Day in 14 days. So starting on, actually it's going to be more, we're going to try and do 14 days to have it all done before St. Patrick's Day, right? So, because I wanted to have it finished before Valentine's Day, and that didn't happen. But this one, since I believe St. Patty's Day is on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I want to do it in 14 days. So anything from the 1st till the 14th. That's what I want to do. And that will start in March. So we have 2 weeks before that next challenge comes up. And in those 2 weeks, I want to do some of the projects that I kind of already started. And some of them I didn't know where I was going to go with them, right? And I also, since it's still February, would like to do some granny squares in pink. Because I have a lot of pink left over. And I'm going to show you everything that I have right now to start with, right? So I have a lot of pink left over, and I want to make granny squares with them and then figure out what to do with the granny squares, because there's 2 things I wanted to do that I didn't get a chance to do. Actually 3, but there were 2 main things. One was I wanted to make a Valentine's Day blanket. I really did. I wanted to have different squares in pink. And make a granny square blanket, because apparently I am obsessed with granny square blankets for some reason. Don't know why all of a sudden, but hey, I'm not get mad at it, and I'm not going to fight it. I have 1, 2, 3 granny square blankets, right? Yeah, like actual granny squares put together. I do have 2 other blankets that are granny squares, but they're just one giant granny square. And they're more like throws. One is more like a baby blanket, and one is a throw. And I do have children in my life that come over and stuff, so I did want to have smaller blankets so that they could use them when they come over. That's why those are not as big. But full-size blankets, I have 2. And I want to make a Valentine's Day one. I also want to make one for St. Patty's Day. Different shades of green. I don't know. Green and white, we will figure that out when we get to it. But since it's still February, I want to do some granny squares in whatever pink I have left over. I don't know if I have any full skeins in my workroom, so I'm going to go also check that out and see if I have any in there. But we do have a lot of the scraps from the cardigan and all the other pink stuff that I made, right? So I'm going to first show you one thing that I was working on. It was supposed to be a blanket scarf, right? But what happened is that I only have one skein. First of all, I think I made it way too wide. Because normally blanket scarves, I think, are between, 8 to 12 inches. Most of them are 10 inches. I ended up making it way too wide. It's 15 inches, I believe, across, right? So, I think this is way too wide for a scarf. On top of that, this is all I have left of this color. So, I do not believe that this is going to make an entire scarf the length that I want it. At first, I was thinking that I can maybe do like a cowl, and I know they're usually done in the round, but I was thinking that maybe I could do it long enough to where I can sew up the sides and turn it into a cowl. But then I got to thinking that I've been like seeing, I like the idea of like the panels, right? Where you have one panel on this side and one panel on this side. And you either can use it as open as like a cardigan, or you can sew it up and use it as a shirt, right? And have it like that. And then have this panel on this side and do it this way, right? And, you know, just like always, this will run into the sleeve. And, you know, it won't take much to do the sleeves. Now, for the size of for the length of the panel I would need, I don't know if this would give me 2. I'm pretty sure it would give me 1. But then I was thinking, like, I like it when you have like one side one color and one side the other color, right? And then if you're putting sleeves, you can do the opposite. Like put the one color on one sleeve and this color on the other sleeve, right? So again, I don't know how much I'll have left, but I was thinking that we can just try it. Now, again, this is the only amethyst that I believe this color is amethyst. Yes, it is amethyst. And I used part of this, I believe, for my sweater for my birthday. And I also used a little bit, I think, for my cuff. No, that was a darker color. I don't know. But anyway, I know I used it a little bit for something else. I think it was the ear warmers that I made. So I honestly don't know how much I have in here, to be honest with you. And I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is see how far it takes me and see if I have any left. And with this color, I didn't want to do another purple. Although I don't think it would look bad, but I wouldn't want to do another purple. I would want it a different color, and I wouldn't, like, I was thinking of doing it gray. I don't have it here. Oh, here it is. So, I was thinking of mixing the gray with the purple. What I can also do so that it is a little bit more, and I just thought of this right now, like literally. What I can also do is figure out how many rows I need it from the bottom to my shoulder, right? Because it's going to be one panel that goes all the way around, and then another panel that goes all the way around. And then the panels will be sewn together. They'll be connected in the back. And then I can and on the sides, and then I can decide whether or not I want to connect it in the front. So maybe what I can do is figure out how many rows is going to be from the bottom to the top of my shoulder, and then switch over to the gray. So do like half and half, right? And then hopefully have enough to do the other side the same way. And instead of having the purple with the purple and the gray with the gray on the back, I can flip it so that way it'll be purple and gray, and then gray and purple, if that makes sense. So both panels will have gray and purple in them. And then whatever color we have left, we will use for the sleeves. And that way the panels will kind of match. Or I can always do like, put gray in here and then finish it off with a purple. But then I don't know if I will have enough. So I think that would probably be the safest bet, would be to go halfway up this panel and then do the other half of the panel in the gray. And then we can do the opposite on the other panel. Or the same. It doesn't matter what you start with. But we can like start so that way, the starting is on both sides. And that'll probably be the back. Right? So I like that idea. I think that would look nice. So that's one of the projects that I want to work on. And then the next project that I want to work on, hold on. Okay, so I made a sweater, a cardigan. I don't know if I ever showed it on here, which I will be showing it if I haven't. And it was like my own design. It did actually come out really heavy, but I think it looks so pretty. And I used this fairy land yarn, and which I do not want to buy or use ever again because it was an absolute nightmare to frog. And, I try not to make mistakes, as we all do. Sometimes, shit happens and you make a mistake and you need to frog. This was horrible to frog. And that's just my personal opinion. You want to use this yarn, by all means, use the yarn. I just personally didn't like it. I didn't like it, and it is rather on the thin side. Obviously, I believe it's a 3-weight. And we all know I'm not a big fan of the 3-weight. I mean, I like it because it's so flowy. You know what I'm saying? I love the flowiness of it, but it has to be the right project for me to want to use it, because it is, it's a little, not tricky, but I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to working stuff up fast. And also the yarn is thin. It's a me problem, not a yarn problem. But this was all I have left. So I made a giant granny square. And what I was going to do with it, I believe I do have like 2 squares that were made solid that I was going to use for pockets for the cardigan, but I decided not to. So I have this left. And what I was going to do initially was use the big twist, which is a 4-weight, but it's a thin 4-weight. And it's a little bit thicker than this yarn, but it's not that much thicker. I'll show you, because I didn't weave in the ends over here, so I can show you. I mean, I think I wove in the ends, I just didn't clip them. So this is the Fairyland yarn in the blue, and this is the big twist in the white. And although you can see a difference in the thickness of the yarn. The white is just a smidge thicker. And it feels a little bit thicker. But they're very similar to each other. So I don't think that will affect, oh, I have a better one here. Maybe you can, like, you see how the Fairyland yarn is a little bit thinner than the Big Twist. And it should be thinner because it's a 3-weight. But it's not that much off. So what I was thinking was, I was going to make it a pillowcase cover, right? But now, what I'm thinking is, I might turn it into a cardigan like the pink one. And like the Valentine's Day one. And, that way I won't feel like this is wasted. Because, I can always make a blanket, right? And do granny squares around it and attach the granny squares and, make it like one giant granny square in the middle and granny squares all around. But I don't know, for some reason, I kind of want to turn it into a cardigan. So what I was thinking is I can pair the white, obviously, because there's white in here, and I only have 2 shades of blue that would go with it. So since there's like a dark blue, a light blue, and then it's not really white, but it's close enough. I think that I wouldn't use the white too much, but more or less to break up the blues. But I think I can try and look at the beige, but this is more of like a white that goes off from the blue, like a blue tone to it, and not a cream tone. So I didn't like the way the cream looked with it, so we're just going to use this white. And again, this white is only going to be really to offset some of the blue. But I was thinking that we can add on to this. I do need to add on, I think, like 4 or maybe 4 rounds, if that. Because I just wanted to go slightly off the shoulder. And if you remember the last one, it was, I think, 22 rounds. We're not going that far. I believe, and this is a smaller hook. I can't remember if I used a 5.5 or a 5. So what I'm just going to do is, since I'm going to have to use a different hook altogether, and it was a thinner yarn too, so it might affect. But since this is all one solid square, whatever gets added to it, I think it's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to do it in a 6mm hook, because of course I am. And when it comes to my garments, I do like to use a 6mm hook, just because I like the flowiness of it. I like that it's not a stiff fabric. So that's just, again, my personal preference. I have this blue, and I have this blue. This blue is sky blue, and this blue is cornflower. So we have the sky and the cornflower, and we have the white. And that, I think, will go very nice with this. So this is the 3rd project I want to work on. And some of them, like these 2, this one and this one, are projects that were carried over from, actually this square was done in in December. And this I started in January. So if I could knock these 2 out, that would be amazing. And the granny squares, we can just work on those. As we're doing this, we don't have to worry about, connecting them or anything like that right away. So, like, if I want to do one day all granny squares, which might be a possibility, we can do blue and white and granny squares for that. And we can do just some pink granny squares and keep the pink granny squares to the side. And we have, obviously, in between, I'm always, that's why I said I wanted to do those squares, because, sometimes when you have big projects, you want something, especially with the solid one that's one panel. I sometimes need a break within the day to get away from that, because it is so repetitive. And although I love doing it, it's a granny stitch, it works up fast. I don't mind doing it in one sitting as much as I can. But then when I take a break and I come back, sometimes I do want to work on it. Sometimes I don't. So I figured I can do squares in between. And that's really all that these other two projects are. It's just squares. And, I can do a bunch of centers like I normally do. One, I might switch it up. One, do the blue squares. Then the next time I break it up, I do the pink squares, and so on and so forth. So the first thing besides that one that I want to do, hold on, let me get this out of my way. I'm not going to show you the pink yarns because they're over there in a pile right now, and they're all half skeins. So if I pick them up, they most likely will fall apart. But I will insert a clip showing you the yarns that we have over there. So, the first thing I want to do is see how many rows I have to add to this, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 rounds. But it is in a smaller hook size. So what I'm going to do first is 2 more rounds and see where it is. And then if I have to go to 18, then we'll go to 18. But I think that maybe 2 more rounds might be enough. Because I'm going to be doing it. It's about, maybe 2 inches that I need. Again, this isn't going to be an accurate measurement because I am going to be using a bigger hook. But right now, these measure about 1.5 inches for 2 rounds. So, since the hook is going to be bigger, 2 rounds might be enough. I'm sorry, it just looked like I have a window right here in my room, and for a second it looked like it was snowing. Anyway, I might be losing my mind. That's a very big possibility. So I think that we are going to add at least 2 more rounds to this and see what it looks like. And see if it's wide enough. Because again, I want it to be I want this one to be a little more fitted than the last one. Obviously, I don't want anything that big for myself. But I'm glad I made it, because now if anyone wants one, I'm got to do the measurements. But honestly, I believe that has to be like a double X. It's huge. I'm telling you, I could fit 2 of me in there. It's big. I normally wear anywhere between a medium or a large. It depends. Always depends. But because I am so top heavy, it is a little bit harder for me to get close. Like this thing, I made it, and I swear it stretched even more when I washed it. And now it's like super flowy, and it's wonderful. I love it. It's so big. It's like my house sweater. It's huge. But anyway, I'm going to work on this and most likely this today. So I'm going to, what I want to do is get the rounds on this one so the back panel is done. And then that way I know how many front squares I need and in what size, which will probably be 6 rounds. And those work up pretty fast. And when we finish one project, there's a few other things that I want to do. There's a few more squares that I want to work on. There's also a scarf that I wanted to make, but I don't know if I'll have enough pink to do the blanket and the scarf. And pinks, reds, and whites. And actually, the blanket is what I want more than the scarf. Then again, the scarf, I think I would only need like 14 or 15 squares. Because I would just do one square that's about this. I might only need 12. I don't know. But I want to do squares that are about maybe 8 rounds. And just connect them together. And then do the border around it. And have a wide scarf with just one, one granny square. Not 2 side by side. So, I think because they're 8 by 8 rounds, that I might only need 12 or 10. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. I also don't know what size I want to make the squares for the blanket. I'm going to figure that out too. But I'm going to stop talking now. And I'm going to go work on something. What? I don't know, because I can tell you I'm going to go work on this and then end up working on this. Who knows? Because I'm crazy. And sometimes I can't even follow my own plan. So I'm going to go figure that out. And I'll be back to let you know what I've worked on and show you a little bit of it. So I'll see you in a few. Hey, everybody. Okay, I took a little break. Actually, I took a few breaks, but I've been crocheting here and there. And I've been thinking about, like, what things I want to make and accomplish within the next 2 weeks before I start on the St. Patty's Day challenge. Okay, so I think before I showed you the ideas that I have so far. Sorry. I feel like I have something stuck in my throat. Okay, so I have I believe it was the blanket, the granny square cardigan, and the purple that I was going to make. I think it's I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to do it. I did decide to change the gray though, because I think that the other one was a little too dark and I wasn't feeling it. Not really. So I changed it to a lighter gray. And I did do some work on it. I believe I'm almost halfway, because I think I'm going to do a total of, 80 rows, because it's going to be the front and the back, right? So I'm doing, I believe, 80 rows. And I'm at 30. So if I do half and half, I'm going to have to change the yarn soon. And really, like, those rows are so small, I do them very quickly. And then I was thinking I wanted something else, right? Because, 4 giant whips isn't enough for me. I mean, 3 giant whips isn't enough for me. We need to add a 4th one, right? Well, I have been obsessed with this yarn since I got it. Now, I was kind of afraid because I thought it was going to be that yarn. That, like that yarn that's that roving yarn where it's like silky smooth and tight just like it is right now. See, and then you go into like this fluffy yarn. And if I'm not mistaken, this is called roving yarn, right? I kind of didn't really realize that, because when I see it, like, it looks, I don't know. Maybe I did, and my brain just, didn't register it, because I really was in love with the colors, and it's so soft, and it's so pretty, and I wanted it. And I haven't touched it since I got it because there were other projects that I had to do. I mean, obviously I put on myself, but, I was making my birthday sweater and then the Valentine's Day. And, I didn't have, it wasn't a yarn that I wanted to use it, because actually it's like a mix of Valentine's Day and, St. Patty's Day. It's like purples, reds, blues, greens, but it was just, I didn't want to use it then. And so I figured now might be a great time to use it, because number one, I want to test out the pattern that I did for my pink sweater, right? And I did want one of those because I don't know if I'm going to do that for the St. Patty's Day challenge. One of my viewers, Peggy, gave me a great idea for some things to make for the St. Patty's Day challenge. She said a table runner, which I probably won't do a runner, but I will, like a long one. But I do like having the big center piece in the middle of the table. Like, I don't know if I would do it round or if I would do it square, but I do love that idea to have that in the middle of my kitchen table. Because I do use 100% cotton, so, I can put the hot stuff on top of it. And that's one of the reasons why I like it. I do have a solid wood table, so I do like to have those on there. And I might make one of those. And she also suggested placemats, which I love. And I think I am going to do that idea. She also suggested for me to make another bag in different shades of green. Now, the bag, I also think is a great idea. And I do have like 2 shades of green, and I still have a lot of white, because that bag is double-stranded. So we can do white and like a dark green that I have, and then white and a light green that I have. I think that would be really pretty, and make another bag like that one. So thank you very much, Peggy, for that. I love that idea. I also am working on a cardigan, which I started, I believe, this year. And it's green and puzzle yarn, and I haven't touched it because it is green, so that's good to have for the St. Patty's Day challenge to finish that one up. So right there, that's 3 projects that I have for St. Patty's Day. But I was trying to figure out what else, because I wanted to have, I know, I'm nuts, 4 big projects. So this yarn has been calling to me, and I started it. I did start it. And now, again, this does say it's a 4-weight, but I did the exact same stitch count. And I just put it up against my pink one. And it's about, I think, 3 to 4 inches, maybe like 3 inches or so. I'd say anywhere between 2 to 4 inches short. Which is okay because I did want to make it a little bit tighter, right, than the pink one. So I think that's great that it is coming out a little bit smaller. And I don't think the camera is doing it justice because these colors are very pretty. And they're not as bright as they look on camera. But this yarn was just calling to me. I've been staring at it for days. I brought it into my room and I didn't want to touch it because I was still doing Valentine's Day stuff and it really wasn't Valentine's Day appropriate. And then, I was looking at it and it's really not St. Patty's Day appropriate. But when I decided to do these 2 weeks leading up to St. Patty's Day to make whatever I want, finish up whips and, work on old whips and throw some new whips in there because, let's face it, it is 2 weeks. I can do a lot in 2 weeks, as we have seen. So I needed at least 4 big projects. Little projects are not the problem. Those I pick up, if I'm going somewhere and I need a car project, or, if I'm just sitting here, or if someone needs a hat. There's a nice old lady who, lives next to me, and she's been wearing all black lately because family members, have been passing away. And, she's that culture where they wear black, religiously. She is Portuguese, and, when someone passes, they wear black for a very long time. And she had gotten a gray hat from me last year, and she hasn't been wearing it. And it's been cold, and the last time I saw her out there, all she had was a tiny thin-ass scarf on her head. And I decided that I was going to make her a hat. So last night, I started it, but it was very late. And I didn't finish it until this morning. And I gave it to her. And she was just so happy. And it was funny. She was like, how much? And I'm like, no, this is for you. Just promise me you won't wear that scarf on your head anymore. When it's raining and snowing and you're outside in like 10-degree weather with a tiny thin scarf. No. So, little projects, they tend to find me. Just like with the bag that I made for the little girl. So when I go out, I don't take something big with me. Like if I'm going to go out somewhere, I'm not going to grab one of these big projects. You know what I mean? Like, I want something that's small that I could probably finish in the car. Usually I take a different bunch of yarn sometimes. Like, I'll take some scrunchy yarn because, scrunchies are fast and quick. Take me about 20 to 30 minutes to make a scrunchie. I don't know. I've never really... Lately, I haven't timed myself. I make them a little bit differently than I used to, so they take me about 15, 20 minutes, maybe. Or I take, like, a bunch of hat yarn, or if I want thinner hats. Depends what kind of hat I'm making. If it's, the 5-weight, I'll take, like, a skein or two. If it's, regular worsted weight hats, I'll take a skein, which will give me a couple of hats, and things like that. I normally don't take granny squares unless I'm really on a time crunch with a project, or if I'm going over my best friend's house, which I'll be in the house with her. Then yes, I've taken granny square projects and big projects, like my blanket. But to be in the car, I like small things. So, you know, we never know what small things will get finished between now and, you know, the time I stop this challenge. But for the house, I like to have big projects. And so I started this panel, and I like the way it's working out, but I'm not loving the yarn. And I have a very, 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 very good feeling that I can't afford to make mistakes with this yarn because it is not going to rip well. It's not going to frog very well. I could just tell I've worked with yarn like this before and I had the same issue. And it does tend to like stick together. It was sticking together when I pulled from the center. So, and you see, like, this is what I mean. Like, you see this yarn here is higher, it's fluffier, it's thicker, and then it goes into, like, the thin, shiny. Now, again, this isn't for warmth. You know what I'm saying? This is not, like, a warm sweater to wear like it is outside. This is going to be more of a comfortable sweater that I could just, like, if I'm a little chilly, I can just throw it on, take it off. Nothing thick like that. So I'm kind of okay with it. But again, I'm not a great big fan of this yarn. This style yarn. It has nothing to do with this particular yarn. I am referring to the style of yarn. I love this yarn. I love the colors. I love the way it's coming out so far. But yeah, this, I guess, has gotten away from me. So, this is the fourth whip that I added to it. This is going to be a panel sweater. This is the colorway. I think this is called Vivid, right? Yes, Vivid. And I have 3 of these. So I believe 3 is going to be enough. And then I have one that's called Ocean, which I swear I thought it was the same one. And I grabbed it, and it's a different colorway altogether, but they look very similar. So I'm going to see how far this skein takes me, because this is 279 yards, right? So depending how far this skein gives me in this sweater, I might make a triangle shawl out of that one, or maybe even a poncho, but I don't think I would have enough for a poncho. Unless I have leftover yarn from this, and I can, you know, if I have a little bit left over from this, I will mix it in with that one and maybe make a poncho. Because I think that's the original idea that I had for this yarn, was to make a poncho. But now I decided that I want to make a sweater, because that's just who I am. Now, this is the yarn that I switched. This one here, I think looks much better with this. Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call. So, I grabbed these before I sat down so I could show you. These are all the pinks that I have left. Now, I went to check in my room, and I only have hot pink left in there. These are the hot pink and the red I have more of. But these are the only pinks, I believe, that I have left. So, I don't know how many squares this is going to give me. I can always do white as a border, because I have more white. Or I can always do hot pink as a border, because I have hot pink, like to join them together and to do the border around them. I have enough hot pink, I have enough red, and I also have a lot of white. But this is the pinks that I have for the squares. This one is like almost, I don't know how many squares I'm going to get out of all of these, but this should be enough to get me a few squares and finish some more yarn. I think I'm going to have a lot more labels this month than I had last month. But I'm going through my stash, so I'm making quite a bit of a dent in my stash. My yarn wall is starting to look a little sad. I got to reorganize it and shift some yarn around, but that's another story. So this is the pink yarn that we have left, and we're going to use these for the squares. I'm not sure when I'm going to start the squares. Hold on, let me put this down. Okay, so I might start those squares tomorrow. And I don't know if I finished showing you before we got cut off, but this is the gray that I'm going for. It's actually looking a lot lighter on camera, but this is the light gray that I'm going to use because I like it better with the amethyst than I do the dark gray. I don't know, the dark gray wasn't, I didn't like the way it looked. So this panel is how much I have done. And I believe it's 30 rows. So I need 40. And I think I'm on the 30th row. I need 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 17, 18, 19, 30. Right. So I'm starting my my 31st row. I need to go to 40 on this panel right here. So I need 10 more rows to go. And then I'm going to switch over to the gray and see how much of this skein I have left. Because I don't know if my plan is going to work. I don't know if this is going to give me a full, after I do 10 more, I don't know if it's going to give me a full, I might have a full half a panel. I might have to revise again. I don't know. Or, like I said, that's one of the projects where I'm just going to keep working it up and see how much yarn I have left once I get to 40 rounds. And like I said, I might just sew it up and turn it into a cowl. I don't know. And I know that some of you might be like, you would lose your mind. You have to have a set pattern and know what you're doing. I fly by the seat of my pants 90% of the time. Oh, and I also wanted to show you, this is what this yarn does that I can't stand. I don't think it'll, oh yeah, it will. You see, it like, that's why I left such a long tail. But I just have to weave in this little tail from the beginning, so it's okay. But this yarn, this is another reason why I hate this yarn. Because if you catch it on the right spot, it'll pull apart. And this is going to be a bitch to sew. So I'm not going to sew this panel. Because yarn like this, I've learned the hard way, it's not good to sew with. So this panel, I am going to be probably slip stitching the panels together. That's why it probably should have been done in the rounds, but I didn't want to do it that way. So, I might be working on this for a little bit longer. And then maybe working on the purple one after that for tonight. And then maybe tomorrow I will be doing a lot of granny squares. I'm not sure yet, but that's what my plan is. The 4 big items that I'm going to have to do for the next 2 weeks are going to be this sweater, which I think is going to come out very pretty. This, whatever this is going to turn out to be, because I have no idea what this is going to be yet. It was supposed to be a scarf. I don't know. Whatever it turns out to be, you'll see at the end, because I'll probably be as surprised as you. And then the other blue cardigan, which I have to do the first 2 rounds around it in blue, see what that looks like, and see how wide it is. Because again, it's definitely not going to be as wide as the other one. And the yarn that the first square is made out of is a 3-weight yarn. It's very thin. It's like this kind of yarn. But it is, I think, thinner than this. But anyway, that square, I'll either have to do, because I think it's on 12, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do 16 or 18 rounds. Probably going to be 18, but I'm not sure. I will measure it as I go. I'll do the first 2 rounds. 4 rounds, because I think it's on 12. So I'll do to 16 and see how that looks. And once that big panel is done in the back, because I'm going to do it from maybe shoulder to shoulder, from here to here, and see what that is like, because I do want the sleeves to come down. I just don't want it as big as the last one. You know what I mean? So we're going to see. And once I have that done, I will know exactly how many squares I'm going to need in the front. And that'll determine the size, because I don't want to do small squares, right? So they're going to be anywhere from, I think, 6 to 8 rounds for the squares in the front. The other ones were way too big. They were 10. I want to do at least 3 squares. I don't want just 2. So it'll probably be 6 rounds a piece, depending on how big the back is, right? And then, then it's just connecting them all. And I want to put the hood on it. And the hood is going to be put on it before anything else. So it's going to be constructed a little bit different. I'm going to try and make all the changes on this one and see how that comes out. But that's what we got to work. That's the third project we're going to work on. And then the granny squares for the blanket. So we have 4 big projects that I want to have done before the end of these 2 weeks. Let's see how many we can get done. Am I delusional in thinking that I'll be able to get them done? And then whatever little projects I do on the way, like whatever, if I make a beanie or whatever, I'll let you know what I'm doing. So I'm thinking I'll let you know what I'm working on that day. It might go into the next day, depending on how chatty I get. I don't want to make the videos too long either, but, I will let you know what I've done throughout the day till at least 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Now, right now for me, it's easier if I do this. It is 8 o'clock. So I am going to end this video here. I did start one of the panels for the sweater. And actually, I think I did, got quite a bit done. I did about 10 rounds on that other panel, on the purple one. You see what I mean about the yarn? And I was hesitant about buying this yarn, but it was just so pretty. And, the other sweater, I did have half double crochets in there, if you remember the way I did the pattern. I don't know if I'm going to do that this time. I'm going to see. Because, I don't know. I'm also going to probably have to add extra rows because this yarn is thinner. I don't care if they call it a 4. This is not a 4. At least in my opinion, this is not a 4. So if it shrunk widthwise when I did this panel, and I'm using the same hook, 6mm hook, I used the same amount of stitches. It was I chained 73. I have 72 stitches in here. And it is about that much smaller than the pink one. So, I might have to add rows to make it as long as I want. And we're going to see how that works out. But those are the 4 big projects that I would love to get done before St. Patty's Day. Now, if I don't get certain things done before March 1st, when I start my St. Patty's Day challenge, whatever isn't finished will get carried over, and then I will, after St. Patty's Day is over, I will do, I don't know if there's anything after St. Patty's Day. I mean, there's Easter, I guess, and Mother's Day. I guess I can do, but in between, we are definitely, we're going to map that out. I got to sit down with my planner and my calendar and start making out a plan. And again, it will be more like a guideline than an actual, plan that I'm going to follow. We all know that. But I know that there's going to be spaces in there where I can do like, what whips can I get finished? And just grab a whip. And, how many whips can I get finished in a week? And have a list of the whips that I need finished and try to finish those. But I am fairly confident that at least 3 of these projects I should be able to finish completely before March 1st. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll let you know what I'm doing. I will start, tomorrow, and I will let you know how I'm doing in the next video. So, if you watch this video all the way to the end, thank you so much. I hope you're as excited as I am to see what I get finished. And if you want to leave down in the comments if you think I'm going to be able to do all these projects within the next, what is it? It's not even 2 weeks, right? Until March 1st. If you think that I'm going to have all these whips finished by March 1st, put a comment down and let me know whether you think I'll finish them or not. Or how many you think I'll finish. Or which ones you'll think I'll finish. This one might take me a little bit longer because it is a thinner yarn. And it might take me a little bit longer because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to make it longer. So, we'll see. But this is how much I've got done so far. And I just started today. So, one panel, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on the 6th round of double crochets. And if I follow the pattern, it will be 8 rounds that I need to do before I do the half doubles. I just have to pay close attention while using this yarn because I know it's going to be a nightmare to frog. So I really don't want to make mistakes. But I want to see if this one is going to come out flowier, which I'm sure it will, because even, if you look at it, it is very flowy. and it might even sit a little bit nicer. It's very lightweight, very thin, and I think it's going to work up very nice. I'm loving the way the colors look. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Like, I'll show you half and half, right? So look at that. I love these colors. I think it's going to make such a pretty sweater. Or, you know, like, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking, I might actually like to do it in a cardigan, because I might get more use out of it if I do it in a cardigan. What do y'all think? You know what? That's a good question. I'm working on the back panel, right? So it's going to be at least, the back panel won't be done by the, you know, earliest tomorrow, if not by Friday. So it depends on how long I work on it, right? And how fast it takes me to work it up. I'm saying that by the latest Friday, this back panel should be done, but most likely, because I'm a nut, it'll probably be done by tomorrow. So I'm going to put this video up tomorrow. So when you watch this video, I'll be working on this. And you can put down in the comment section whether you think I should make another sweater, and like the pink one, or if I should make a cardigan and make 3 panels instead of 2. I would love to know your opinion. Either way, I think, you know, it'll look good. I'm just saying, like, cardigan, because I think I would get more use out of a cardigan than I would out of a sweater. And I don't know now. I mean, it'll probably end up being whatever I feel like at the moment. But I would love to know your opinion. Let me know whether you think I should make this a sweater or a cardigan. And I'll be working on the back panel, because the back panel's not going to change, right? The only thing they would change would be I would either have to make 2 front panels or 1 front panel. So I'm going to go work on this. Thank you so much for listening to me rant. I know I'm a little crazy and a bit of a hot mess, and 9 times out of 10, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. But, you know, there's always one of us. I tend to crochet what I feel. And if I'm making something and, you know, I feel that it's not coming out right, I try not to frog. I try to figure out another use for what I'm doing. Like that purple one, for example. The only 2 that I'm absolutely certain of is the blanket and that granny square cardigan. These 2, they seem to be up in the air. So if you want to put your opinion, go ahead and put your opinion on whether you think that I should turn this into a cardigan instead of a sweater. Or if you have an opinion on that purple one, be my guest. Put it in there too. Do you think I should really just turn it into a cowl and call it a day? Or do you think that I should try and do the panels? And that would either be up in the air whether or not it's going to be turned into a cardigan or a sweater. Because I'm starting to realize, as much as I think sweaters are so pretty, I don't think I'm a sweater person, guys. I really don't. I like cardigans, and I would not put a hood on this. I would just make it a straight cardi. I am going to put a hood on the granny square one. But on this one, if I do decide to turn this into a cardigan, I would not put a hood on this. I don't even think I would have enough yarn to put a hood on it. And if there is time, that's what I forgot to say. If there is time, if I'm done with one of these projects and there's time for me to, like, if I finish one or two of them and there's time for me to start something else, I do have one full skein of this kind of yarn that's a different colorway. I believe they were mixed together because I remember grabbing them all from the same place. And since they were in the same place, I didn't check. They looked similar, so I didn't check. That was my bad. But that's okay. Because we can either, I'm thinking that I can get a shawl out of it. Now, if once I'm done with this sweater or cardigan or whatever this is going to turn into, if there is any extra yarn left over, because I do need to do the math. I didn't do the math on the pink sweater just yet. I do need to do the math. I think it was 4 full... it wasn't 4 full skeins, because the first 2 were half. So it was probably like 3 full skeins of yarn. So I'm guessing, and it was the big twist, which is what, let's see, 380 yards. And it took 3. So, I don't know if I'll have enough to finish the sweater. But you know what? I'm thinking that I might. I'm thinking that it'll be one skein for... One skein might give for 1 panel. And I don't think the sleeves are going to take much. But the other option that I have is this. Like, make all the panels, right? Whether it's 2 or 3. I know I have enough for that. And the extra yarn that I have, it is similar enough where I can do the sleeves in that yarn if I have to. And then I won't have to worry about making a shawl. Now, if this yarn is enough to give me the a full sweater or cardigan, whichever it is, because it's about the same amount of yarn, right? The only difference is that instead of 1 full panel in the front, it'll be split into 2, but it's the same, more or less the same amount of yarn that's going to be used. Because I wouldn't be making any big border on it if I do. It would probably be very simple, like just a round of half doubles and a round of single, because I would want it as delicate as possible. So it would probably be 1 round around it as a single crochet around it, and then a half double, and then a single. So that wouldn't take much yarn, but we'll see. Like I said, I would love to have your opinion, but it'll also depend on what mood I'm in, because I might just want to make it into a sweater. But I do know that I use cardigans way easier than I would a sweater. So, again, we'll get to that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And I have talked your ear off enough. So, you can leave whatever comments you want down in the comment section. Just be nice. And tomorrow, I will let you know the update on where my projects are. And who knows, like, I might just work on one, or I get those moments where I'll get hyper fixated and just work on one project all day long and get a ton of it finished, or I move back and forth from two projects and, they both get worked on and progress. Or I might turn around and do nothing but granny squares. Who knows? That's another fun game. You can check in to see which ones I will be working at. Because, it might change. Or you might get, progress on 3 different projects on the same day. So, I will be updating you on my progress. And again, I hope you like this video. I hope you stick around to see my, insanity and see what I get through. I know you can't see my hands. I have the camera kind of far away, and this yarn is very, very light, so it's weighing down. And now my hands don't want to work because it's telling me I need to take a break. But it's okay. So who knows? But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching me. I need to put this down or else I'm going to keep talking. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. All your support is so greatly appreciated. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscriber button. It doesn't cost you anything. And it helps me out a great deal. And you can always hit that little bell. It'll let you know when I'm on if you want to see the insanity that is me. The hot mess. And you can always follow me over on Instagram or Facebook. I will be posting more often there. And yeah, that's it. That's it, friends. That's all I've got. I'm tired. A little delirious, maybe. And I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.